Hey everyone, welcome to Q&A. So today, Alan Begley writes, "Hi Bill, you were a general manager and a CEO. What is effective communication and how did it pay off for you in these roles?" Wow, great question. This is a little bit of a departure from the usual hiring type stuff, but I like it. I like these type of general management type questions. This is a great question. This is a very trendy and popular topic these days. The importance of effective communication, the benefits of communication. Whenever you go to a business conference or you go on business-related social networking, people are always talking about this. It seems like half of every posting on LinkedIn is on this topic. And usually it's filled with cliches and managerial type jargon and stuff. But despite that, despite how much sort of attention, in a way, this is getting, in my experience, most people in business don't get this. They just don't get this topic. They don't understand it. They don't understand the need for effective communication, and then they don't understand the techniques of how you actually do it. And the reason why I say this is because the effects of getting this wrong are not just sort of pie in the sky, sort of, humanistic, reasons, and don't get me wrong, humanistic reasons are important, but these have direct, measurable effects on a business that you can measure in dollars. Okay, quite simply. Every time an employee leaves, you can directly measure the cost of that, their replacement cost. Anytime one of your valued, highly valuable, highly critical employees leaves and goes over to your competitor and starts adding millions of dollars to their bottom line, you can directly measure the cost of these things, of screwing this up. So, very important topic. Okay, so let's see. First, start as an organization. Now, if you have issues with low morale or high turnover, and you want to do something that's going to help your employee retention, you're going to retain employees, this is the solution. Okay, this is the beginning of the solution. And it's more than the beginning. It's like, I'd say 75% of fixing the problem properly. This is the way to improve employee retention, the way to improve employee engagement. And so many managers I've seen are bad at this. And I'm not sure why. My theory is that a lot of managers and most supervisors, in my experience anyway, haven't had actual proper business training. They never gone to business school. They might have technical skills and they were just sort of promoted to supervisor or manager. And the sort of people skills component of those roles, they've never been trained for. So consequently, they don't really shine when it comes to that stuff. So what can we do about this? How can we improve communication? Like, just some examples here. For example, when an employee leaves or gets fired, or you hire a new employee, make an announcement. Inform people of what's going on. And people misunderstand this. They think that the announcement is for the benefit of the new employee or the employee that's leaving. That's not the case. This is for the benefit of all the other employees, so that they feel that they are important. Okay? Now imagine how this would feel. Say you walk down the street and you see someone that you know and you say hi to them, and they don't say hi back. They just ignore you and keep walking. How does that make you feel? It makes you feel like, maybe they don't like you, or maybe you're not important enough to them to warrant a response, for them to take the trouble to communicate with you or acknowledge you. People appreciate being acknowledged and being informed. And that's the number one reason why we need to do this, okay, for a start. If something is going on, like I said, make an announcement. If you are the manager that has initiated the thing that's going on, or are the authority on it, inform people. And I don't mean just send an impersonal email that looks like it's written by a lawyer, in legalese. I mean actually talk to people, get a group meeting and announce this is what's going on. It's very important that you guys understand this. I thought you'd like to know. This is why we're doing it. This is what we hope to happen in the future, the effects of it. And if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Something like that. That, generally speaking, makes people feel good. It makes them feel appreciated and valued. On top of just making announcements, if you are a supervisor or a manager, go and talk to individual employees. Ask them what they think. See what they're doing. If they're doing something great or they're doing a good job, tell them that. Say, hey, I noticed that you're doing this, and that's really great because not a lot of people take the trouble to do that properly. And I can see that you're doing it really well and you're doing that. And that's how I know you're a good employee. So keep it up. That's really good. If you communicate things like that on a regular basis, that really helps retention and employee effectiveness. And it's also just the right thing to do. If you're a manager, you have, say, 30 employees, get into the habit of doing this. Okay, talk to everybody, get two-way conversations going, show people that you care, go and see what they do, go and talk to them. Something I mentioned in a recent video was something I used to do, and was take an employee to lunch on a regular basis and rotate the employees. So you get to know them and you get to have a two-way kind of thing, and they feel they can talk to you and they feel that you acknowledge them and you care about them. How do you instantly raise the morale in any organization? You do all these things. That's the effect of it. Okay. Now, how much does this cost? Well, it doesn't cost zero because it does take some of your time, but the cost is very little, and considering the impact that it has, it's a no-brainer. It's an absolute no-brainer. HR has shown that people who end up leaving jobs, generally speaking, a lot of times people leave not because of the money, they leave because of how they're treated. And if they feel unappreciated, they feel disrespected, they feel that they're not valued, and they feel miserable, they're going to leave a job regardless of the nature of the work they actually do, and regardless of even the amount of compensation they're getting. And this has been shown again and again and again. Something I've seen in my career is that a lot of businesses that have, shall we say, the more valuable employees, the more senior employees, the ones with more experience, who are generally a little older. They're not, in their early 20s. They're a little bit older. They've got several years of experience, and that are highly sought after and valued. These employees, when they're in their 40s and 50s, they're less motivated by money. Their house is probably paid off, their car is probably paid off, their children are probably grown and now independent. So once you get to that stage of life, are you going to stay at a place where you're miserable, working your fingers to the bone just to make a little bit more money? Usually not. What we found is that those employees care much more about having a positive work environment, having a job that they not only tolerate but can somehow enjoy, and they feel respected and valued. And those are the driving factors. So I have seen time and time again smaller companies who can't pay as much end up with all those employees because of this, because of effective communication. This is one of the effects it has. And conversely, I've seen companies that don't understand this. They think they can motivate those employees purely by money. They end up driving those employees away to their competitors, who take all that goodwill and all that value to their competitors, and this company suffers because of it. So I would recommend that all managers and supervisors get some form of training, get communication skills training in some way, shape, or form. They need to understand the importance of this, and they need to understand the techniques of how to do it. And just work on it, especially if you're experiencing, high labor turnover. You need to look at this first. This is likely where the solution is going to start. What else can I say? Also, just on a personal level, the higher you are in the org chart, like on the organizational chart in an organization, the more you need communication skills. If you can take an employee that has great technical skills and you add great communication skills, that employee becomes so much more valuable, because that's not very common. If you have, say, an accountant who can get along with and has great rapport with people in the outside sales department, that's really valuable, and you don't see that too often. If you have someone who works in operations, like a technician, and they get along with and have a great rapport with people in the marketing department, that's a tremendous thing. That employee becomes very valuable. It's great for your career. This will improve your career. It'll help you do better in job interviews, that's for sure. So communication is an amazing thing. It's so integral to business. We don't seem to take it seriously. And I've worked across 5 industries. I've seen this everywhere. We don't seem to understand how important this is or focus on it nearly as much as it deserves. And as a result, we are losing money, and we are becoming less competitive because of it. So hopefully that answers your question. That was an interesting question. I like getting questions like this. It was a little bit more personal to me rather than about hiring in general, which is what I'm usually talking about. But I really appreciate that. As always, you can contact me on YouTube, Facebook, email, and if this video was helpful to you or you like it, please consider subscribing, like the video, share the video, hit the bell, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take care.